So did I do it? Did I get cute for the couch? Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tia Moretta. If you guys want to see how I accomplished this makeup look, just keep watching. Alright, so as you guys can see, my eyebrows are already done, and what I did was stretch that concealer from my brow bone all the way onto my lids, and what you see me doing here is just setting that concealer for a nice even base for the eyeshadow look that we're gonna do today. What I'm using to set my lids is the Airspun translucent setting powder. So for today's eyeshadow, we're gonna use the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I'm sure you've seen this on my channel before if you've watched my other makeup videos. I really do enjoy this palette. It just has a really nice color range, and you cannot go wrong with anything from Morphe. So I'm just gonna create a transition color, starting at the crease and bringing it upwards using the color No Joke. It's like a really pigmented yellow, and I think this yellow is actually what made me buy the palette. One day I was in Ulta and I literally was like not even shopping for eyeshadow because I rarely use eyeshadow. Literally all these looks are experiments. And I swatched that yellow because normally when I buy a palette and there's a yellow, like I literally could not get one that's pigmented enough for dark skin. And Jaclyn Hill and Morphe did a really good job with this one, and that yellow along with a few other bright like oranges and peaches is literally what made me buy this palette. So if you guys are, you know, women of color watching this video, definitely check out this palette. Like, you would swear I was selling it, honestly. So yeah, I'm just swooping that across transition zone, or well, I just want to say the crease, and then I'm bringing it upward to the brow bone, and this is gonna serve as like a transition color. So now I'm going in with the color Feeling Myself. It's a really nice orange. It's very pigmented. And I'm just taking that into the crease. And as you can see, I'm just gonna shape the crease. I'm not doing anything special with this at all. Just going right into the crease and making sure that I could get as much pigment of this color as possible. I really was hoping that the orange would show and not blend into that yellow. So that's what you're gonna see me doing here. I'm not sweeping the color into the crease, I'm patting it in, and I'm just gonna pack that color until I get enough pigment to my liking. So at this point, I decided to make the orange loop into like my outer corner. And you'll see why as I start adding other colors. But It's gonna serve as like a crease going into a gradient on the lid sort of thing. I hope I'm explaining that right. But so I started in the crease and then I just dragged it onto the outer corner. But you could see because I patted that orange in instead of just sweeping it into the yellow, how much pigment it really did add. And again, that's why I love this palette, because you really get the colors to show through without having pale white skin. Okay, so yeah. So what you're gonna see me doing is starting to blend the orange into the yellow at the very top of the crease. And this is to avoid having like such a harsh look where you look like a raccoon. And yeah, the last thing I would want is to have like orange raccoon eyes. So we just gonna blend it out, and I'm gonna go back in with that brush that I use for the yellow to make sure I don't lose any of that yellow pigment that I applied earlier. Okay, so now it's about to get really real. Okay, this is where I start to get like real crazy with the eye look. Okay, okay, well, not really, but I kind of got lost in the process. But what I'm doing is creating like a even deeper crease. So within the crease of the orange, I'm gonna create a deeper crease, a very defined crease using the color Homebody. It's like a deep brown, but it still has like an orange red undertone. So all it's gonna do is darken up the very deepest part of the crease. Make sure I got that step perfect. What I did was create a cut crease with my concealer, and what I did was open my eye to make sure that the lid touches the crease, and then it creates the perfect spot. This is a little trick that I've been noticing. It creates a perfect spot for where you want your your deep crease or your cut crease. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it up, and then we're gonna get back into it. So for this crease, because I wanted that orange on the outer corner, I didn't drag it all the way to the outer part of my eye. I just kept it on the eyeball. So I really literally just followed the shape of my eyeball to know where to stop, and later on you see me create that gradient again using the outer corner of my eye for the orange. I hope that makes sense. But I'm literally not dragging the cut crease all the way to the outer parts of my eye. Now I'm gonna go back in and set the concealer. So the concealer that I used was the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Fawn is what I use for my face. And then I'm setting it again with that Airspun loose finishing powder. So here I am, like I mentioned earlier, creating that outer corner that's gonna serve as a gradient on the outer corner of my eye with that orange. So I'm maintaining the cut crease, but I stretched that orange to the outer corner, which is why I didn't dry the concealer all the way. Okay, so what you're seeing now is that second attempt of that deep cut crease that I was trying to do before. So what you're seeing is me really just hoping that the cut crease is what made it perfect, and it did. So as you can see now, the color is actually showing up over the orange. So like I said, this is a deep brown. It's the color Homebody, but it has like reddish and orange undertones, so it's really gonna just add like a deepening effect, and add some depth to the crease. So at this point I'm full on experimenting, and I'm using the color Love Handles to brighten up the lid. I could have very much just left the concealer, but I felt like it was too yellow for my liking. So I wanted just a really neutral lid to drag into that gradient with the orange. And I am at this point just trying to create like the perfect line. So you can see right here that you have like a little bit of a jaggedy edge with that brown that I put in earlier. But I'm gonna sharpen it up once I finish the lid, so it's coming together. So I still have like that cut crease look. Now I'm just blending everything together, so it's like a flawless gradient from nude to orange. And if you're wondering what I'm listening to, it's the Meek Mill playlist. I think it's something coming to America. It's not coming to America, but it's something about America, and title was Bumpin' Meek Mill, and that's my bae if you don't know. So yeah, if it wasn't copyright on YouTube, I would definitely be bumping that playlist for this video. Okay, so now that I'm closer, I'm just going to explain this really quickly in case you missed it. So what you just saw me do was create that cut crease using this technique where I put the concealer on my lid and then make my lid touch my crease. And that creates the perfect spot for me to draw the cut crease. So I'm doing the same thing as I did on the other eye. I'm just gonna set that concealer with the Air Spun translucent setting powder. Okay, so now what you're gonna see me do is define that crease. And I'm using a very fine brush. It's like an eyeliner brush, and I apply concealer. Um, and I just want to sharpen that outline that connects the lid color to that deep brown color. So like that deep brown was literally the challenge of the day with this makeup look, but I'm definitely cleaning it up the best I could with this liner brush. So I'm just using my concealer to just make as straight as possible a line. And again, we're not dragging it all the way because we want to keep that gradient with the orange. So I'm just going to blend that concealer downward onto the lid, and then we're going to repeat the process. So now I'm just going back in with that eyeshadow, and I am just covering where I added the concealer so that it appears as more of a cut crease. So I just use the concealer to define that crease, and then using that straight line, I'm just gonna go back over it with the shadow so that everything is like more crisp and clear. We're going back in with the orange on the outer crease to create that gradient like I wanted. So now I'm just gonna add some eyeliner. So I'm not sure if you guys can see, this eyeliner is actually midnight blue, but it's gonna appear black. I could literally not find a black eyeliner, and when I found this one, it was called Midnight, so I was like, this must be like the blackest black of black eyeliner I could find. And when I bought it, it was blue, but sometimes it shows up as blue, sometimes it shows up as black, but it'll do. So let me know in the comments like what color is showing up as. To me right now it's showing up as black, but in some pictures it shows up as blue, so let me know. So now I'm gonna apply my foundation. My face was already primed prior to this, but I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. It's very cheap. You can find it in a drugstore, and that's pretty much why I'm using it, because it's affordable, but it also has a really good finish. And I do not like oily foundations, especially approaching summertime. I always stick to like this matte one. Now I'm going in with my LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Fawn. This is the same color concealer I used on my brows and on my eyelids. This is literally the only concealer that I used to date. Again, it's affordable, but it just gives me the right coverage that I need. I think it's only like $5, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. I would hate to spend $30 on a foundation when this one is $5, thinking it's gonna be better. So this is what I stick to, and it works perfectly fine. Now I'm just gonna blend that out with a wet sponge. I'm using a Real Technique sponge. I prefer the beauty blender, to be honest. But this is what I had at the time, and we're just gonna blend that in. Today with the concealer, I did a full like highlight look, so that's why I dragged it down, all the way down to like my nose and to the outer corner of my eyes. If I want a more full coverage look, this is the way that I complete my concealer, and then I just add it in the areas where I want to highlight as well. As you can see, forehead, nose, upper lip, and the bridge of my nose. So now what you see me doing is setting my under eye, and I'm using the Black Radiance loose setting powder. I believe it's in the color Banana, if I'm not mistaken. And if you watch any of my other YouTube videos, you know Black Radiance is like all the rave. Again, it's super cheap, but the plus is this brand makes product for black people, and I absolutely have no problems in terms of the quality. Obviously, in terms of the price, like you cannot go wrong. So I don't know why I set my face before doing this step, but I'm using the elf palette to contour. I'm using a cream contour palette, and because my face is getting so fat, I'm just gonna drag it down on my jawline, and you could see like the illusion that it creates to make like a slimmer jawline. And because I already have high cheekbones, I just drag it along my cheekbones, like right underneath my cheekbones. I don't do anything too drastic, just really accentuating, not too much of an illusion when it comes to my cheekbones. And of course, I blend that in because you don't want to be looking crazy. Now I'm just going over that contour with a bronzer. Again, this bronzer is by Black Radiance. I'm just gonna come out a little harsh at first on this video because and the only thing I don't like about this Black Radiance powder is that it breaks really easily in the container, so the powder gets kind of all over the place, so you have to be really careful. As you can see, it's like a really dark color, but I like my bronzer to be dark, especially when it comes to like summertime, because you know, why not be bronze? The more bronze the better. It just adds more dimension to the face, and you know, you could do a lot with adding like glow and depth to your face, in my opinion. So now what I'm gonna do is clean up that bronzer and that contour with that same Black Radiance loose setting powder, because literally if you do not, it's literally gonna look like somebody punched in your face and you have like a mark if your bronzer is looking a little too crazy. So you just gotta clean up, you know, keep that contour crisp and clean, or to your liking, I guess. And now what you see me doing is contouring my nose using the same Black Radiance bronzer actually. And I try to get really defined with the nose. This is a work in progress. I think it comes out a little bit different each time. I personally don't feel like I need to contour my nose, but I like the way that it looks, just to again accentuate. So some of my features are very much already defined, but I just, you know, enhance them a little bit. I don't get too drastic with like my contour around my cheeks and around my nose, because I do not want to look like I had plastic surgery. That's not the goal. It's literally just to make those features a little bit more cuter on the face. Now I'm just brushing off all of the excess setting powder. I'm really blending it in because you don't want to be looking too pasty and too ghostly with the setting powder. Y'all know the vibes with this flash, in the darkness. Not that I'm going to the club or anything, but this is why you want to make sure you brush off that powder so you're not looking ghostly in your pictures. Now I'm gonna add some blush. I believe this one is by Ulta. It is a peach shimmer blush, and you could already see like it's adding some glow. At this point right now, I think the only blushes that I use are by Ulta. I've been really liking the way that they look both in summer and winter. So I'm going really heavy with this highlight today. This is called Mirage, and I believe it's by Morphe. And I'm just adding it to all the high points of my face, the usual. And I'm gonna use the one and only setting spray that you should ever use. It's the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. I'm definitely an advocate for this setting spray. Feel myself. But I'm gonna go back in with that highlighter again because I really wanted this to be like a really glowy summery look. Here we go. So I'm not even done, and you guys could already see how building the elements back to the face after adding the foundation really creates that dimension. So you can see how the blush and the highlight really just does what it does, highlights specific areas of my face, but then the bronzer definitely cuts other areas of my face, and that's the goal, guys. This is what we do. So this completes the look. I hope you guys enjoyed this. The lashes that I use here today are Relentless by the Bandit Collective. You guys, these are available to order right now. Go ahead and shop the Bandit Collective, and don't forget to subscribe if you like this video. Bye.